Hey, great Sunday, everybody. I'm going to continue to point out the problems with the Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium deal because taxpayers need to be aware of it. People need to be aware of it because it's simply that they're playing so close to the margins that another bad set of visitor data per month or anything, just small changes, not large, small, could put this into a place where the general fund that is used to provide services for Las Vegas and Clark County is threatened. That is, tax dollars are used where hotel money from expenditures for hotel rooms are used. That's the biggest problem sticking right out there. Separate from the Raiders' own questions of whether or not they can come up with the additional $700 million needed to appropriately pay for the stadium and the costs that it's creating. Just because something is approved by a body, in this case a stadium by the Las Vegas Stadium Authority or Clark County, does not mean it's a good deal. It means that there's a political motivation behind it, which calls for another look at investigation as to who is monetizing whom to get this thing passed. Something you have to keep in mind. It's very important to keep this in mind. This is not just the largest sports stadium subsidy ever, in $750 million total. Even at $650 million, it's still big, the largest. But what that means is even more important. It means that someone gets a fee for handling that. The percentage, yes, may be the same as in other deals, but the number makes it more desirable to banks and others along the chain of decision makers and engineers of the deal. To put it simply, someone's getting paid and someone wants to get paid. It's not just the banks, okay? Keep that in mind. That's a large part of what's driven this deal. A large part. And it comes at a time when we have more and more people living from job to job, cobbling together 3 jobs using Lyft or Uber. You've seen it. Or they'll work at a store, or they'll create something. And then we have nomad retirees living in their cars, going from place to place because they weren't able to afford enough to retire adequately, and because we don't have a guaranteed minimum standard of income which allows them to retire in comfort. We're failing ourselves, and at the same time, some Raider fans are supporting this stadium, which really is a symbol of the fact that American priorities have gone completely out of whack. Remember, in Oakland, the mayor wanted a privately financed deal. Some of you said, well, they can't give the Raiders what Clark County and Las Vegas can. What you should be asking is, why do the Raiders need it when, for example, the Oakland Athletics have enough money to pay for a stadium themselves, as do the Golden State Warriors? There's something wrong there. You should not support a situation where tax dollars that some of you don't pay because you're young, okay, go to billionaires, 1 or 2 people, as opposed to the millions of people who need the services. I have long been a proponent of the use of public money for sports, but when it makes sense to do so. It's something I was trying to explain to my friend Amy Allison a long time ago when she had me on her show, but didn't tell me she was bringing on David Zirin. And thus I didn't get a chance to explain in detail when I said that not every sports stadium is a great example of economic development. AT&T Park in San Francisco is. It's privately financed. The city provided land as a write-down. Its involvement was minimal, but the tax results were huge. That's the way it should be today. The Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium is not a good example of that, and I will continue to point out the number of problems it has. And I've done so for 2 years. Remember, I was the one, if you don't know this, who criticized even the 1.5 to 1 debt coverage ratio. It should be 2. There's a reason for that. Stay tuned.